Hello, this is Unit 3, Formative 2, Day 3, Application of Linear Inequalities. So these are going to be word problems. First, a couple problems that you probably already know the answer to, but we just need to go over. First one, when do you use a solid line when graphing linear inequalities or a dashed line? Okay. Remember, you're going to use a solid line when you have the or equal to, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. That is going to be your solid line. Okay. Your dashed line is when you have greater than or less than. It's going to be your dashed line. Okay. And remember, a dashed line is like an open circle. Okay. A solid line is like a closed circle. A solid line is going to include all the numbers on the line, just like a closed circle. A dashed line is not going to include the numbers. It's everything on this side that's shaded, but not what's on the line, just like on an open circle. How do you decide what region to shade? We pick, the point 0, 0, as long as the line's not going through there. So if we have our XY axis, and my line is going above 0, 0. I'm going to pick 0, 0 and determine if it's a true or false statement. Okay, 0, 0. If it's a false statement, I would shade this side. Okay, if I plug in 0, 0, which is right here, and it's a true statement, I want to shade the side that's true. The exception is if we have a line. See if it'll go through. If we have a line that goes through 0, 0, okay, this is a solid line, so 0, 0 is going to come out as a true statement. But which side do you shade if the line is going through it? So in this case, you would pick any point you want that would not be on the line. I would pick, something like 0, 1, something that would be up here. Okay, zeros, I like dealing with zeros just because they're easier. You would plug in 0, 1, okay, 0, 2, whatever you wanted to, as long as the line wasn't going through that point. Okay. And then if it's true, you would shade the side the point's on. If it's false, you would shade the opposite side. All right, here's our word problems. Okay, this one we're going to think about a plan. A truck that can carry no more than 6,400 pounds is being used to transport refrigerators and pianos. Just from that first sentence, we have three things. We know the truck can't carry any more than 6,400 pounds. So we know we have 6,400 pounds, and that is the max amount of weight the truck can carry. Now, another thing we know is that they're carrying two things, refrigerators and pianos. Both of those are unknowns. This is where we get our X and our Y from. So I'm just going to pick refrigerators as my X value and pianos as my Y value. Okay. It doesn't really matter on this as long as you keep it safe. So I'm going to have refrigerators, and over here is going to be pianos. Okay, this is my Y value. Notice I only have quadrant 1. On these, you don't need any other quadrant because you don't have a negative weight. So you need to stick with quadrant 1 on these. All right. Now, I know refrigerators is my X value. And I also know about a refrigerator is that it weighs 250 pounds. What I don't know is how many refrigerators I have. So how I address that is I have a 250-pound refrigerator, but I don't know how many I have. So we're going to use X for the amount of refrigerators we have. Now, my piano weighs 475 pounds, but I don't know how many I have. So we're going to say 475 Y for piano. Now this you should recognize is in standard form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my X and Y intercept. And if you remember, we do that by making X0 and Y0. So first off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my X-intercept, so I'm going to make Y0. Now when we make Y0, remember this goes away. Okay, this no longer exists. So we have I'm going to go ahead and go up here. We have 200, let me get a pen, 250 x is less than or equal to 6,400. Now when I solve that, I get about 25.6. All right. Don't worry about the decimal in this. Okay, it's 25.5, pretty close. Now the next thing I need to do is I need to find my y value. So I'm going to make my x 0. And remember, when I make my x 0, this term's going to go away. So I have 475y is less than or equal to 6,400. And when I divide that, I get y is less than or equal to 13.5 about. I think I rounded on that one. So we have our x and y intercepts. This is what we're going to use to graph our x and y intercepts. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put them down here. Now, you notice on our graph, we don't have 25 across. Okay, we probably have 13 up, but we don't have 25 up across. So I'm just going to go by 2's. Okay, I'm going to go by 2's on my graphs. So I'm going to start at 0, 0. I'm going to go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26. So it's going to be right in there is my x-intercept. My y-intercept is 13.5. So again, I'm just going to go by 2's just to make it easy. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So it's going to be right in there. All right, there's my x and y intercepts. Now we have a solid line, so I know my line is going to be solid. Okay? But what we don't know is what side of that we're going to shade. You notice I didn't extend outside my quadrant 1. Don't do that. Now we're going to shade, and I'm going to use my 0, 0. Okay, because the line does not go through 0, 0, so I'm going to use my 0, 0, and I'm going to plug it in. So we know, again, if this is 0, if x is 0 and y is 0, what happens to this whole left side? Okay, it becomes 0. So I have 0 is less than or equal to 6,400. And is that a true or false statement? That is a true statement. So I'm going to shade the side that 0, 0. So 0, 0 is here. It's true. So I'm going to shade this side. And that would be my answer. Let's do another one. All right, this one. Oops. I'm going to make this a little smaller so I have more room. Okay, this one, a student has 2 summer jobs, earns $10 per hour at a cafe and $8 per hour at a market. The student would like to earn at least $800 per month. Okay, so again, we have 2 unknowns here. We have the cafe, which I'm going to call X, and the market, which I'm going to call Y. Right. Now we know they need to earn at least $800, so that is the smallest amount they need to earn. Right. So my cafe job is X, and I earn $10 an hour, so this is going to be 10X. Okay. Plus my market job, which is $8 an hour, would be 8Y. So there's my inequality. 10x plus 8y is greater than or equal to 800. I'm going to graph. This is in standard form, so I'm going to graph using my x and y intercepts. So first thing, find my x-intercept. We're going to make this 0, or the y 0, which makes that 0, and I end up with 10x is greater than or equal to 800. Solve for x, and I get x is greater than or equal to 80. So this is my x-intercept. Now let's find our y-intercept. So I'm going to make x 0, find my y-intercept. When I make x 0, this whole thing becomes 0. So I get 8y is greater than or equal to 800. So y is greater than or equal to 100. And this is my intercept. Now I'm going to graph them. You notice I don't have 80 x values, okay, and I don't have 100. So on this one, I'm actually going to count by tens, and it really doesn't matter. Just try to make it easy for yourself. Obviously, I wouldn't count by hundreds. Okay, so I'm going to count by tens. I'm going to graph my x-intercept first, which is 80. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 would be right here. Now my y-intercept, which is 100. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100. Which is there. Now it's included, so I'm going to go ahead and draw my line. Now I need to know if I'm going to shade which side I'm going to shade on my line. So I'm going to plug in 0, 0. Again, when you make your x value 0 and your y value 0, what happens to this whole thing? Well, it becomes 0. So I'm going to go 0 is greater than or equal to 800. Now that is a false statement. So right here where my 0, 0 is, oops, right here where my 0, 0 is false. Okay, so this side is false. That means I need to shade the true side, which is over here. Okay, and there's my graph of the information. Have a great day.